Hi everyone, welcome to Sacred Timings with Swati. I'm Swati Kameswar, and we are right in the middle of the eclipse tunnel with Mercury retrograde in full swing. And that is what we are going to cover in the video today. All the kinds of things that can come up with Mercury retrograde in the sign of Taurus during an eclipse window and how to navigate it consciously. All right, so here are the key dates to be aware of. Um, we have Pluto going retrograde right at 0 degrees of Aquarius next week, and that's followed by the second eclipse, the Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse next Friday. And then we have Mercury direct on at 5 degrees, almost 6 degrees of Taurus on May 14th. So, the theme of the eclipse so far has been using your life force energy to move towards your passion. Where are you feeling alive in life, and are you taking action towards that? And the theme of Mercury retrograde is all about transforming our perception and expression to support rather than sabotage your intentions. So, this is really an opportunity to uplevel your default expression and to be very intentional with how we are directing our expression and coming from a higher self state rather than from our habitual reactions. So, here let's talk about Mercury. Mercury represents our perception, cognition, and expression. So, everything from the throat up is what I see Mercury representing. And when it is retrograde, it's an opportunity to slow down and observe how this part of us functions. So, our mental realm, our intellectual realm, and how are we coming through in our expression. It really gives us an opportunity to see where we may be getting stuck in those areas. So, your relationship with your own self and how you express, and how your expression impacts your relationship with others. So, this is where we might see a lot of things getting highlighted in these few weeks. So, Mercury refers to our perception, that's a lens through which we see life. So, asking yourself, is your framework up for renewal? Is the lens that you're perceiving life through supporting you, or is it sabotaging you because there are things going on in the background that you're not aware of? And this is what Mercury retrograde in an eclipse window will very clearly highlight. So, asking yourself, what have you taken to be true? What are you assuming to be true, your belief system? This period of Mercury retrograde really slows down this whole process, so tightly held patterns that we were not previously aware of can be made visible. And so it's really a beautiful time to pay attention to all the places where discomfort may be coming up, where your expression is concerned. All right, so in the sign of Taurus, Mercury, of course, will retrograde in different signs throughout the year, and this time it's in the sign of Taurus. And the highest essence of Taurus is to enable us to enjoy this physical experience, this life in a physical body on this beautiful earth, to really take pleasure in that. So, pleasure plays a big role where Taurus is concerned. And the second quality of Taurus, which I feel is really important, is the self esteem and self worth part of it. So, when we are backed up by a strong, healthy sense of self, when we truly embody our self worth, it shows up in our expression, it shows up in the way we live, the choices we make, and also in our capacity to be present and to be present in this now moment and to receive the gifts of each moment, even if that moment is bringing up discomfort. And that's when we can really have appreciation for the journey of this physical experience and life in a physical body. And on the other hand, the shadow of Taurus can show up as being stuck in old patterns, habits, and routines. It can be very slow to change. Now, one of the highest qualities of Taurus is that quality of patience, and the fact that there is a slowness to it because there is a quality of patience associated with it, and that patience allows it to build something of tangible value. But when it's in shadow, then there can be a resistance to change. So this goes back to those tightly held patterns that we talked about before, where those tightly held patterns will come into your awareness, because shadow Taurus is quite resistant to changing habits and doing things differently, because it finds so much comfort and security in the safety of that known experience. So you may be feeling this quite strongly in your life where what used to work before may not feel good, but also you may be finding it hard to make a change. And I tend to watch these eclipse times very closely. I've worked consciously with eclipses for a long time because I find that they can create change, positive change, so quickly when you are aware of it. And I have felt the intensity of change really ramping up with this particular window. So, and I also find myself bumping up against old habits that I thought I had left behind, and yet now they're coming back. So, to support myself through this time, I've tried to do different things like really break up my routine and trying to do this proactively, and particularly spending time outside in nature is very, very helpful at the moment. Just uh, this is actually part of that Taurus quality, being able to enjoy that physical experience and all the physical beauty of Gaia. So, being present in nature and just allowing the sights and sounds of nature to transform you at this time can be very supportive of this intensity of change that we may be experiencing. Now, one of the shadow qualities of Taurus is the inability to see the value of our own self, and this can, of course, show up as issues that we may notice in our, self-worth and so on. And how you view yourself will be reflected back in your relationship with others. So this is a pretty big shadow aspect of Taurus that we want to be aware of. And Mercury retrograde in the middle of an eclipse will really highlight this strongly. So taking a look at how is your expression coming through? How are others receiving you? What is your life reflecting back to you? And so, because this is all about Mercury, communication with ourselves and with others is highlighted. So these are the areas where the shadow of Taurus can be amplified, and take your our expression can give us clues to what may need to change. So one of the places that we can look at is, are you speaking from the wounded place? And by the wounded place, I mean that part of us which is hurt, which is in pain, and which doesn't feel loved, which doesn't feel heard and seen, and that part of us that feels that we are inadequate, that we're just not enough, not good enough, and the part that feels that our brilliance is not acknowledged enough. So when we are really when the wound is very active, then the inner critic's voice may start to get louder. And so asking yourself, am I expressing from this place of the inner critic, judgment, fear, grief, or resentment? And even guilt can come up because this is Taurus. So there may be guilt around not being able to enjoy the physical experience. It may not be easy to experience pleasure. So take a look at all these different areas in your life. These are actually great journaling prompts. Or, the other part of it is that ask yourself, am I expressing from my inner wisdom? The part of us that has access to a larger picture, that has access to the wholeness within and can see the wisdom in our wounds. So, which part of you is shaping your expression? Is it the wound or is it the wisdom? Is it the hurt and the pain, or are your gifts and your authentic voice coming through? So this is really, with eclipse season, Mercury retrograde right in the middle of that, unresolved patterns around our expression can come up very strongly to our awareness, and actually they can bring up oftentimes the intensity of the energy and the if it's bumping up against the shadow aspects or the wound and the pain, it can bring up a lot of emotional discomfort, mental as well as emotional discomfort. So some coaching prompts for you that are great to journal on are, how comfortable do you feel in your own skin? And this may vary, of course, depending on your situation or the environment you're in, but um, lack of authentic self-expression is a big contributor to low self-esteem and low self-worth, where we feel we're not adequate, where we end up looking for relief in all the wrong places because we don't feel in integrity with our true self. And there can also be this sort of fragmentation between what's going on inside and what you're seeing outside. And then asking yourself, are you able to view yourself through the lens of celebration rather than the inner critic? So, celebrating yourself, finding pleasure in the way you express in the world, the way you are being in the world, your presence in this world, rather than coming from a place of the inner critic or judgment. And then ask yourself, how is your expression evolving at this time? What does your soul want to express through you? And how will you honor this soul desire? And by evolving, I mean that so many, all these intense transits that we go through, they create change for the purpose of bringing forth our higher self. So your innate gifts and wisdom, your learned gifts and wisdom, is that coming through? And do you need to uplevel that? Are you feeling a call to uplevel that? Where are you feeling a call to really explore something new that lights your heart up? Remember, this is all going back to this eclipse tunnel, the theme of this eclipse tunnel, which is about really getting in touch with what makes us feel alive and what is this place of passion that will really bring us joy. So, what habits and routines will need to shift in your life to support new skills that shape your new expression? And my course, The Gift of Your Authentic Voice, dissolves blocks to authentic expression. I address all of these things that we talked about in today's video in this course. And we really take a very good look at all the wounds that block self expression. And it's filled with solid strategies that will help you to dissolve the patterns of the inner critic, judgment, fear. These are often patterns that have prevented many of us from exploring the depth of our own potential and our own expression. So, if you feel like there is something new wanting to come through, but you're bumping up against these old patterns, there is comprehensive material in this course, 6 comprehensive modules that do a deep dive into these aspects to create a palpable transformation in the way you think, perceive, and express. And really, this is life changing in the most affirming way. So, as a result of dissolving those blocks, you will activate new skills that want to come forth. Communication of your truth consistently with confidence and joy and love and kindness really becomes your default way of expression. And then finally, we use intentional creativity processes to rewire the brain to heal the fragmentation between the wound and the wisdom. So we really integrate the gifts of the wound in a way that brings out your authentic voice. So your these pictures here are from the intentional creativity processes that I will be leading you through in a live workshop, and you'll connect to that wise and playful part of you that is there within you that can not only see but utilize the wisdom and the gifts in the wound. And this final picture here on the right is my muse of playful brilliance that emerged after doing this process. So if you're ready to break out of the box, check out the gift of your authentic voice. The website, the link to it is activateyourtruthandpower.com/GYAV. And I'm sending you many blessings as you walk through this portal of transformation. And my muse of playful brilliance wishes you the very best as you go through this Mercury retrograde period. And may you move through it with ease and joy. Thank you.